Welcome back to another board game tier list, everybody. This time we are doing War of the Ring, the card game. We're doing the paths. So this is going to be including the Fire and Sword paths. This is not including the Against the Shadow ones. I don't think we're going to cover the Against the Shadow content for now. So things to know: there are 4 copies of every path. When you flip them initially, they're random unless you advance it and it says that you can pick, or at least doesn't tell you to pick a random. Then you can pick which one you go to of either that path or the next one, depending on how the card reads. If nothing else stops you, meaning if one player hasn't won, you will go through all 9 paths in the course of a game. And when you complete the round for path 9, the game ends essentially. So, other thing that's worth mentioning: path 1, 3, 5, and 7 are all good for the free people typically, and path 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9 are all good for the shadow player. So, at the beginning of the game, you also flip a good person battleground, free people battleground. So because of that, the free people normally start with some edge at the beginning. And this one's gonna be a little bit different. So S is going to be best for the free people. F is the best for the shadow. And obviously these won't all come out in one game, but it's worth going over because there's actually a big difference. So we're gonna assume here we go. So we're going to assume that you are playing with the normal rules of the game, not against the shadow. So if you're even on path, attack, and defense, the free people still win. So this one we're starting with path 1. Buckleberry Fairy, the Mordor player, and Hobbit player each draw 1 card. And this one has 1 defense. I think this is how we're going to do it. This one is better for the free people, but if it makes any sense, this is like the worst one that you can get for path 1, I believe. For the free people, this is the worst one they could flip. So I believe for now we'll put it there. Once we've flipped, actually, just to keep this interesting, let's do it this way. Let's put all of them out at the same time. So we have Bag End. The Hobbit player draws 2. Long Expected Journey. The Hobbit player draws 5 cards, takes 1 in hand, cycles the rest. And then Gildor's Encampment. The free people player draws 1 card, cycles 1 card from hand. So, yeah, okay. So maybe this isn't as bad as I thought it was because at least it has some defense on it. None of these are super great. I think we're going to put every single one of these in A tier for now. We'll adjust later if needed. All right, now we are on path 2, which should be better for the shadow. So this is what we got. The Old Forest, 1 defense. Each free people player must forsake 1 card. And then the End of the Prancing Pony, 1 defense. Each shadow player draws 2 cards. Barrow Downs, the Monsters player draws 2 cards, add 1 corruption to Barrow Wights on this path. And then Weathertop, the Mordor player draws 2 cards. So, I think that this one is B because this is the best one that. Yeah, actually, we'll move this one over as well. I do think that this belongs here. So, Buckleberry Fairy is going to be B, and then the Old Forest is going to be B. I think both of these are pretty scary. I think they'll maybe be C. Very similar to Bag End, so I think that makes sense. And then I think this one will as well. The Shadow player is getting either 4 or 6 cards is pretty big. So we don't have any that are super good or super bad at this point, but I think those will come very soon. So path 3. Okay, hopefully this is all nice and visible. Okay, the last homely house, 2 defense. Each free people player draws 1 card and cycles 1 card from hand. Imladris, 1 defense. Elf player draws 2 card. Fords of Brunnen. Each free people player must forsake 1 card, then each draws 3. And the Council of Elrond, this one has 1 defense. Each free people player draws 1 card. So the Fords of Brunnen, I believe, is our first S tier card. This, if you are playing whichever version you're playing, this is going to draw you so many cards and helps you get just such pace early on. Because this is the beginning of the game, so drawing cards is immensely helpful, especially if you're trying to set up. Yeah, the only reason I'm going to put the last homely house in B... Actually, I don't think I can possibly do that. I think we have to put it in A. Yeah, how could I possibly do that? Yeah, I think both of these go in S tier as well. It's very hard for the Shadow to take either of those, and they just help both of the free people. The only reason that I would say this one is A instead of S is because sometimes you actually want them to attack Path 3 a little bit. This makes them not incentivized to attack Path 3, and it doesn't really net you any cards, if that makes sense. So I think that's right. Okay, Path 4, nice and scary. Okay, the Doors of Durin. The monstrous player may forsake 1 card to add 1 corruption to this path. The High Pass. None of these have any protection, by the way. The monstrous player draws 2 cards. Monstrous armies may be played or moved to this path. Each adds 1 corruption while on it. The monstrous player draws 2 cards. Each free player must forsake 1 card. So it's important to note that these have interactions with other things, like Khazad-dûm is going to be F, and the reason that Khazad-dûm is F is because the Balrog has extra attack on it, and that's often something that you're planning around. Caradhras, yeah, I think that's right. Caradhras, I think, would be C. Still good for you. Man, this is actually kind of hard to do. The High Pass. I guess this one will be C as well. And then the Doors of Durin. Yeah, actually, I actually like that a lot, because you normally just forsake from the top of the deck, and you add 1 corruption. So it might seem crazy to say that the Doors of Durin is amazingly good for the Shadow, but adding 1 corruption is really, really big, especially when you can do it quick. Okay. Path 5. Okay, Dimworld Jail. Each Shadow player cycles 2 cards from hand. Lothlorien, the Elf player draws 2 cards, cycles 1 card from hand, 2 defense. Agladil, 1 defense. Each free people player draws 2 cards, cycles 1 from hand. And then Fangorn, 1 defense. Each free people player may take 1 random card from the cycle pile into hand, add 1 defense to each Ent character on this path. Okay, so this is going to be a very interesting one, because these are so... these are so strong, I guess. So yeah, this is literally just a weaker version of the last homely house. But I still think that this one isn't good enough to get to S, and this one isn't bad enough to go to B. Because B is essentially supposed to be the middle of the road, pretty much. I think that this belongs in S tier. Let's see, does this... Yeah, and I think that this does as well. Fangorn, because then the Ents are just crazy on this path, which is ridiculous. And then Dimmerl Dale, part of me would say that this would be even higher, because it can be very, very helpful. But the Shadow player already has so many cards, or the Shadow players already have so many cards to begin with, that I think that putting in A tier is most reasonable. Okay, we're going through this fast. Now we're doing Path 6. Okay, this is another very interesting one. So we got the Dead Marshes, 1 defense. The Monsters player draws 2 cards. The Black Gate, the Black Gate is add 1 corruption to this path, period. The Hobbit player may add 2 corruption to this path to change the number from 6 to 7. So it always has 1. It could have up to 3 on it, which is just crazy. And then Emyn Muil, the free people player, or each free people player must forsake 1 card. And then Amon Hen, the Mordor player draws 1 card, cycles 1 card from hand. So this is really interesting. So it might not make sense that this would be B tier, but I do think that it's B tier. I guess I think that some of these are so scary that when you get Emyn Muil, you're like, heck yeah, I don't mind forsaking the top card of my deck in order to not have a bad effect. So I think that this one belongs in B tier because it's just in the middle. Amon Hen, the Mordor player draws 1 card, cycles 1 card from hand. This is a pretty worthless effect as well. So this is going to go B tier as well because that just doesn't do enough. The Dead Marshes, what's that card? There's 1 card that gets extra attack on this, which is worth mentioning. It stinks that there is path defense on this. Let's see. Man, I would not have known this, but I actually think that the Dead Marshes, I actually think the Dead Marshes is B tier. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe Path 6 isn't nearly as hard as I thought it was. I think there's a bunch of stuff that can go on Path 6, which is the problem. But this card is just like a worse version of Barrow Downs, the worst version of Weathertop. There's all these things that are better than this. So the Black Gate is really rough. It's so interesting to me. I would have said that Path 6 is one of the scariest, but I think it's only scary for the people that can go on it, not for the abilities. So the Black Gate, I think, is really good. I would say that it is very good for the Shadow, F tier in this case. And I really don't think there's going to be any time that the bottom, or at least I've never seen the bottom ever be used. And I'd be impressed if it was used effectively. So, okay, now we'll do Path 7. Henneth Anun, 1 defense. The Dunai player draws 1 card. The Crossroads, each free people player draws 1 card. Osgiliath, the Dunai player may forsake 1 to draw 3 cards. And then the Tower of Ecthelion, add 1 corruption. Then the Dunai player draws 1 card. So, let's see what we got here. Okay, I think that the Crossroads has to be A tier. It's in the same logic as Bag End. And I think that that's true for Henneth Anun as well. And honestly, I think I'm going to say that Osgiliath is S tier because that's actually a very good effect. And I'm always hoping, if I have Boromir, I'm hoping that it comes out, that Osgiliath comes out first. I can move him there, and then go to Henneth Anun or somewhere else afterwards. Tower of Ecthelion. Yeah, this one I think is the most mid. This one would be B tier. So. Oh, I guess another thing I should have mentioned is that all of the ones that are easy for the free people, meaning path 1, 3, 5, and 7 are going to be worth 1 victory point. All of the ones that are better for the shadow player would be worth 2 victory points, but the victory points only go to the free people. The shadow gets the amount of corruption they have in excess of the protection on the path. So even though this one is horrible, if you take it, there's a big advantage. So, okay, last few. Path 8. We have Cirith Ungol. The Mordor player draws 5 cards. From these may play 1 army card and cycles the rest. The Morgul Vale, same thing except with Nazgul. Shelob's Lair, draw 2 cards. The Stairs, each pre-will player must cycle 1 card from hand, which is in my opinion is certainly better than making them forsake, especially late in the game. There are things that interact with Cirith Ungol. There's things that interact with Shelob's Lair. There's nothing that interact with these two. Guess those are just little notes. So I think Shelob's Lair, let's see. Yeah, I think just because things can interact with it, and you almost certainly are going to have Shelob at this point, it would be F tier. Although it is very interesting to me that like Weathertop and Shelob's Lair, there's like no difference between those 2 cards, except that there's nothing that interacts with this one, but there is with this one. The Stairs. Yeah, I actually think that that's really solid as well, because you take away the free people's resources, which is incredibly helpful, especially given that they start with so few resources. Both of these are about the same. I would say that both of those would be C tier. And then last but not least, we have path 9. So these are each worth 3 for the free people. Although they're very hard to win, so I guess we'll read them first. Morgai, add 1 corruption to this path. Gorgoroth, each shadow player draws 1 card. Crack of Doom, the monster's player draws 2. And then Orodruin, the Mordor player draws 2 cards. So then there's nothing to interact with any of these, I believe. This one would be F tier. And honestly, all of these ones would just be C tier. Let's see, can you see down? Say questionable. All right, well, let's just scooch these babies up as much as we can. Hopefully that's a little bit better. We'll go with it anyways. Gorgoroth is down here if you can't see it. But anyways, I think that that's right. So that is the tier list. Honestly, I feel like I learned a decent amount in this. The paths are actually not as varied as I would have guessed that they were. Like path 9 has the same exact effect as Weathertop, essentially. Somebody draws 2 cards. So it's very interesting to me. It's also interesting to me that there are only 2 battlegrounds that should be easier for the free people that are in the middle section, and there's 4 that are better for the shadow that are in the middle section. And I don't know if we actually, yeah, I think we did mention this earlier. So if the free people take the ones that are best for them, they only get 1 victory point. If the free people take the ones that are best for the shadow, they get an immense amount of victory points. They can even take these ones that are only C tier and get 3 victory points, which is just as much as Minas Tirith. So really, the free people can win from pretty much just the path if they do it correctly. The free people can win from the battlegrounds by an insane amount if they just reactivate a ton. Yeah, but there we go. Hope that was helpful. Peace and prosperity.